Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing good today and pray that you have a great day and a great day tomorrow at your church. Sanj and I, especially for those of us here in the North Central region, of course, all across our country, we have family and friends that tune in and keep tabs on us and care about us here. So you'll be in our thoughts and prayers, but in particular, the great North Central region here in the Dakotas and Montana. Sanj and I will be rooting for you, praying for you, checking in on you, and so I just pray that you have a great weekend. But I was going to talk to us about something else today. Man, I'd been working on it all week long, to be honest, but something happened yesterday that just really rocked my world, and I just feel compelled to talk to you about it for a little bit today. And so hang with me, and I want to set it up this way. With this kind of a life statement. It's a life statement of my own, and here it is. I try to monitor this very carefully because I know the direction of my life goes according to the direction of my thoughts and my deeds. No matter what I say are my priorities, no matter what I say is important, what I think and what I do, that's the direction my life goes in. Now, let me give you a couple of examples, and this is true for all of us. So let me give you a couple of examples in my own life. A number of years ago, Sanj and I were on vacation, and we got a call back home, and one of the elderly fathers of the church, a very loved and revered, precious man, had passed away. And so I really felt like and wanted to go back and officiate that funeral. And so they were very kind. The family was understanding. We were on our vacation. So we waited till the day of the funeral. We had been in contact with them over the phone and all. But we left on the day of the funeral. We pack up, leave a little early, and we head back home. About an hour out, our car, of all things, our car breaks down. And we're stranded on the side of the road. The clock's ticking. You know, the time for the funeral, and I didn't bring a suit or anything, so I was just going to go home and take a shower and dress up for the service there. And so the clock's ticking, and we're waiting on a wrecker to come pick us up. And finally, it is getting desperate. I'm going to be late. I'm going to miss the funeral. And so I call a friend. He comes, picks me up, and I'm mortified. I was mortified to do this, but the record company said somebody would have to be there. So I had to leave my wife on the side of the road with a broke down car. And so I hated doing that. But the funeral service and all that was there. So I'm on the way. We get home. It's an hour. So I began to call Sandra. Surely she's on the road now. The record's come and picked her up. And no answer. I called, no answer. Jump in the shower, take a quick shower, get out, call her immediately, no answer. I'm getting dressed every few moments, no answer. I'm driving to the church, no answer. Just before I go in, and the service had already started. They were expecting me to be a minute late. The service was already started. As I'm walking in, I'm calling one more time, no answer. And so I am a wreck. My mind, I'm trying to do this funeral and do my part and minister to that family. But and so I'm doing this, but the direction of my life, I'm already having another funeral. My wife, I've had her. My mind's going crazy. I have her kidnapped. Maybe the record driver didn't show up, or somebody showed up before then, or the record driver's an axe murderer. You know, my mind is going crazy, and I am a nervous wreck. No matter what I was trying to do, the direction of my emotions, of my life, was going in the direction of my thoughts. Long story short, everything was fine. The record driver came and picked her up a little bit after I had left, and she was riding back. He was, if I remember correctly, he was even a good Christian man. Sandra being a people person, they had a good trip. Everything worked out fine. While I was at the church doing the service, she was at home. Everything was fine. But what had happened in the cab was so loud, she couldn't hear the phone ringing. And so it was a perfectly justifiable reason, but it don't matter. My thoughts, the direction of my thoughts, turned what was just a normal, unfortunate, but life happened kind of deal, turned it into a major event there for a little while in my mind. So there's your good example. The direction of our thoughts determine the direction of our life. Let me give you another example. a man my age, I'm almost embarrassed to tell this, but a number of years ago, again as a pastor, I got involved and really kind of got addicted to a video game. Some of the young people and young middle-aged men, they'd got together and there was this interactive game that you could be a part of. And so to be a part of something with my church people and the young people and the young men and just to be a part of that, I joined and started playing. And so these games, of course, they're designed to get your attention and to get your dollars. And so I jumped in and I'm competitive. And so year by year, that began to consume more and more of my time. I'd find myself, even in the middle of my workday, taking a quick look at my phone and checking the status of things. And so this kept going just little by little. Remember, the direction, no matter what you say is important. What you're investing in is what is really becoming important. And that's the direction your life is going. And when you go in one direction, trust me, you are leaving another direction. And things that really mattered to me, like reading and studying my Bible and growing and listening to good podcasts and staying focused on my job and executing with excellence and all those things, little by little, that game began to consume me. Last year, about this time in June, at the Dakota camp meeting, one of the services, I was growing under conviction. This is taking up way too much time. This is not good. This is ridiculous. And I remember one night at the altar, I said, God, other people are probably praying about important stuff. I'm praying about a stupid video game. But I said, God, I'm embarrassed. This is ridiculous, the amount of time I'm allowing this to consume in my life. I just made the commitment right there before the Lord that I am not going to play that game anymore. I changed direction. And I started going back in a direction of things that are really important. That year, this past year, I've had far more time to get my reading in or get my Bible reading in. It's been the distractions. It's just been amazing how the less distractions, how that game had such an effect in my life. And so there's another example of where our thoughts go and what we contribute to determines the direction of our life. And when we go in one direction, we are leaving other directions. Now, here's the punchline. Picture in your mind people starving. Picture in your mind, and let's wrap it up. This is family. I've got family in California, extended family that live in California. I have immediate family that lives in South Korea, and of course in South Carolina. They're all a long way. You've got family that's a long way from you, but they're starving. They're going without. What would you do? Picture that in your mind. Well, we do have family that is starving, that is doing without. I got a call yesterday, or a text yesterday, from Bishop Tom Gillum. And Bishop Gillum, we love him up here. He is a former beloved state overseer of this region, highly regarded up here. He is now our missions rep. And he sent me a text, and he said that Dr. Griffiths, the World Missions Director, shared with him a very urgent need. We're getting reports from the field where in Central and South America, in Africa, in the Far East, and even in Eastern Europe, parts of Eastern Europe, our pastors and our members have no work. Most people in the world, like in the parable of the vineyard where they got paid at the end of the day, that is still how much of the world operates. They get paid one day at a time, and then they go to the market and buy food for that night. And so with the world economy shut down, people are not working. They have no reserves. They have no bailout plans. And so people are literally starving to death around the world. And that includes our family, our church family, brothers and sisters in Christ. And when Bishop Gillum texted me that and said, if you can do anything, even a small amount, anything that can help us to purchase food and get it to them, to get the resources to our field directors so that our native workers, our native pastors, and our missionaries can be taken care of. Anything you can do. And I, of course, texted him back and said, you can count on it. Then later that night, or later last night, Sanja was preparing our meal, and we were about ready to eat, and I saw the phone ring, and it was Dr. Griffiths, the World Missions Director himself. And he called me, and he said, David, let me just follow up. And he shared with me a little bit more of the urgency of the need. And I said, Dr. Griffiths, you can count on it. Sanja and I, minimally, we're going to do something. We're going to make a difference. We're going to contribute. We're going to let our thoughts go around the world, not just here in our kitchen. We've got food, but we're going to let our thoughts go around the world. Some of those places Sanja and I have been to, some of those people we know. We're going to let our thoughts go there, and we're going to let our resources go there. And that's what I'm asking you. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail right now. It's going to be on the blog. You look down below on the blog, and there'll be information there on you can either send it to the regional office, a contribution, you through your church or directly, or I've given you information that directly to World Missions. You can go on the website even. That's how I make my missions contribution. I just do it on the website. So that information's there. But I want you to think about and pray about making a difference in feeding this desperate hour, helping to feed our family, our Church of God family around the world. Last night, after I hung up the phone, Sanja was waiting. She had already prepared the meal. She was waiting on me because it was close, and she could tell I had it on speakerphone, so she was privy to the conversation and the desperate subject we were talking about. And I was going to go get my plate, but I didn't want her to wait any longer, so I walked over there and I was going to say the blessing. I looked down. It's one of Sanja's favorite meals. My wife likes chicken legs, of all things. So she has this kind of bacon-shaped recipe. She makes her own spices and stuff, and she bakes it. And so she had 2 chicken legs on her plate. And she had made us some macaroni and cheese, some Stouffer's macaroni and cheese that she doctors up. She puts cheese and some spices in there. So macaroni and cheese. And I'm a simple man. I like pinto beans. And she had made us some pinto beans and put some ham in there and some seasoning. And it was just right. And so I'm looking at that meal and what many of us in America, what I would call simple fare. A couple chicken legs, some mac and cheese, and some pinto beans. But I looked at that meal in light of that conversation that I just had with Dr. Griffiths. And I saw that meal, and it was a feast. And I was so grateful. I was so thankful that we had such abundance here in America. And I let that be the launching point. I let that be the contrast. And I know maybe your thoughts have been going toward, am I going to lose my job, or am I going to get my job back? Am I going to be able to eat next month? How far can we make it? And I understand that. And maybe your thoughts have been leading you toward fear and worry, and you have felt helpless. You haven't known what to do. Well, today I'm going to ask you to turn your thoughts, not your immediate need, but turn your thoughts toward the world. In light of the rest of the world, a starving world, life is not too bad here. And here's something that you can do. It may even just be a few dollars. It may be for some of us more. But you can make a difference. And life's funny like this. When we begin to give, and when we begin to contribute, when we begin to make a difference, when we give that way, heaven comes down and begins to flow through us. And there's always enough for us, like the little boy that gave the lunch. When he got through, there were 12 baskets full for him to take home. And so, brothers and sisters, let's make a difference. Let us let our thoughts go towards something that is good and lovely and wholesome and helpful. And let our deeds go toward those that are in need far greater than us. Well, there you go. Pray that you have a great rest of the day. Look forward to seeing you soon. Let's keep running to win, North Central Region. May God richly bless you.